Next super chat, also from ROK Zoomer. Thank you so much for your $2 super chat. What are your thoughts on Park Chung-hee Kaka? Okay, so Park Chung-hee Kaka. So Kaka means Your Excellency in Korean, and we typically say that to people who are, the king or of nobility. But I think calling Park Chung-hee Kaka, his accomplishments in Korean history warrants that title, in my opinion. I really like Park Chung-hee. I think he's an incredible man. He really, really saved Korea. He did. He absolutely saved Korea. Now, that doesn't mean I co-sign with torturing political dissidents. Just want to make that clear. But he is a great man. He's a strategic man. I just hit my mic. He's a brilliant political strategist and leader. He's great. But what are my thoughts on him? I like him. That's my thoughts. Without him, Korea would not be what it is today. Now, I will say, while I like him, I think his system of governance in terms of being like a benevolent dictator, although he wasn't benevolent to his political dissidents, so I can understand that. But saving Korea, I think all that incredible. I think there's a lot that we can learn today in the modern age about how Park Chung-hee, rose to power, but also led Korea. But that being said, I do have a bunch of grievances against Park Chung-hee. For example, I think that, of course, like I said, torturing political dissidents is bad. Let's not torture your political dissidents. Let's uphold a certain degree of freedom of speech, please. I like that in a civilized society. But one thing I don't appreciate is his housing program. And now I understand that it gave a lot of housing, low-cost, efficient housing to many, many Koreans. I get it. But the mass creation of apartment complexes and buildings to make that the primary form of housing in Korea today, that was destructive. That completely destroyed Korean society. Where Koreans used to always congregate around villages and create their own villages, so they have local villages and local communities that can form and thrive. And not saying that they were always quote-unquote rich, but they were connected. Koreans were connected with each other in their community. Now, we have these apartment complexes where people live like bugs in boxes in Korea, all across Korea. Traditional Korean homes are being demolished so that large apartment complexes can be built upon that land. You talk to most Koreans, they don't talk to their neighbors. They don't do anything with their neighbors. They live isolated lives. They don't actually live in a thriving physical community. Their community is found at work. Their community is found at church, which is all good. That's not bad, but it's unsustainable. You're supposed to have a support network and a community and a village where you live. That's your tribe. That's supposed to be your gang. But in his pursuits of alleviating Koreans from poverty and trying to get Koreans into housing units as much as possible, I believe that set the tone for a very anti-human architecture infrastructure in Korea that completely decentralizes family formation and creates isolation and loneliness among Koreans. I mean, just all these horror stories about Koreans who are found dead in their apartment. Horrific. People might say, oh, but I have my privacy. Okay, but at what cost? Do you really want your own privacy in your own apartment unit at the expense of being disconnected from your family and your tribe? No, that's not healthy. That's not a good way of living. So that's probably my biggest grievance against Park Chung-hee. But I think overall, great man who will go down in history as a hero for Korea. And I hope he still does. I know the left hates him in Korea, but I think he's a great figure to respect.